Independence is a state of being independent. This happened for Nigeria in 1960 after an independence movement led by the founding fathers Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello. It was granted formally independence from British rule. 61 years down the line, what is the story for Nigeria? I am Blessing Aichi and this is Viewpoint on ITV.
As of today, we are still together. I think that call for celebration. After 61 years, we are still together. Despite we are not moving at a very high speed, our movement as a country in terms of projection is disappointing. But since we are still together at 61, I think that also call for celebration. But if you look at the way and manner those who have managed this country over the years, what they have demonstrated, it calls for a deep, sober reflection. We have not been able to manage ourselves properly. We are not supposed to be where we are now. What we expect by now, we should be among the first world nations. Where we are now is not a situation that we should be happy. In terms of political management, in terms of economic management, but in terms of togetherness, we can celebrate it. For a family to be together for 61 years, call for celebration. We expect the leadership to, as a matter of expediency, a matter of urgency now, starting their best to make sure that they formulate a workable direction for this country.
During the pre-independence era, it was nationalism versus colonialism. Our founding fathers fought selflessly and won independence without shedding any blood, as it was in Angola, South Africa, etc. And the song we sang at independence was that though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. But today, the labors of our heroes past, the labors are almost in vain. There is insecurity in the land. The land is not safe. In those days, you can keep your doors open in your house and your eyes closed. But here now, even if the doors of the houses are closed, people can attack you. And even if your eyes are closed, you cannot be sure of your next destination. There is freedom of movement, as it were, but it is not safe to move anywhere in this country without bandits, terrorists, etc., performing their jobs. In the domain of education, scholarship was encouraged. There was scholarship for erudite and scholarly ones, irrespective of tribes. But here now we have quota system, we have catchment area, etc., etc. All the same, although it is not yet Uhuru, we are happy that we are still one country.
The commemoration of Nigeria's independence, to me, can only be significant in this celebration if we reflect on the philosophical essence of independence. Independence of a nation simply means the government of a country that is dependent on its legitimacy from the people, from the citizen. That is to say, the government does not derive its source from foreign power or external influence, as the case may be. So the government is dependent for its existence on the decision of the citizens of that country. In summary, independence means you're going to have a government by the people, the government of the people, and the government for the people. Now, if you take these three parts and the philosophical essence of independence, then you cannot really now realistically appreciate areas that we desire celebration and areas that will call for concern. You cannot build a house without a foundation. The foundation of the celebration of independence should be dependent upon the true understanding of its philosophical essence. So to me, Nigerians should reflect whether we have had government by the people, government for the people, and government of the people. If you have this type of government, then naturally there are potentials and constraints in any sovereignty, in any nationhood. If the foundation is solid, you can address the problems, then you can harness the potentials.
As a nation, this is where we find ourselves by way of geographic, whatever. But it is with mixed feelings. Some will say they have gained, some will say we've made serious losses. But my personal opinion is we can do a lot better. That's all I can say. The prospects are there. We have the human, natural, and we have everything it takes to actually make it a nation of pride. It's just to get a few things right. That is all I can say. It is, and to get it right, it still boils down to the politics. It is the politics, it is power that determines where people find themselves. So it's not a question of we must reorientate ourselves. We must begin to look beyond partisan, beyond tribalism. It's our country. We cannot just say we can't write it off.
When Sonny Okosun in 1984 sang the record "Which Way Nigeria," at that time we didn't understand what he was talking about, because he saw, we had to answer the question of insecurity, corruption, ineptitude, bad leadership, and all that. In 1984, those questions are still relevant, almost 38 years after. Nigeria is one kind of country where we are all of us blame leaders, but I think it's also not too right to blame leaders, because the leaders didn't come from mass; they're from the led. And most of the led, we just believe that leaders can do whatever they want. Nigeria was founded on the very wrong foundation. And it was believed that the successive governments should have been building on this foundation. But what we now have in Nigeria, they refuse to build. The bricks are getting weaker, cannot carry the country. There's a fear that the country will collapse, the building will collapse. So where we are now is that Nigeria is on life support. If at 61 we have done quite well, Nigeria by now should be on auto cruise. But what do we have now? We have insecurity that's grown beyond expectation. We have corruption. We have leadership failure. We have situations where at 61, if you were a human being like a man, you will either have succeeded or have failed. So very basically, if at 61 you are still thinking of what to do to yourself, I think it could be a wrong time. Here is Nigeria. We are not even just stagnant, we are moving backwards. 1984, the economy was sufficiently strong, everything was fine, but where do we have all these problems coming from? Now in 2021, we can't even do anything with our naira.
Nigeria is not faring well. If we want to be honest with ourselves, I am a Nigerian. And I think, like I always tell people, it's not by default or by my making, but I see it as a lottery that God himself played. He put us together in one entity called Nigeria. But with the way we are put together, it doesn't worth celebrating. At 61, a man of 61 should be a retiree. If at retirement, you don't have anything to show for all your toiling, what do you leave for the children? My Bible says a wise man leaveth inheritance for the children. Where do you inherit? What do they inherit? Inherit squabbles, catastrophic environment, insincerity, fighting, violence, kidnapping. States in the north are shutting down their telecom because of banditry. That started as a little thing that could have been nibbled. But it was not seen as a challenge of a macro nature. But now it's snowballed into a macro whatever. What do you call it? Is that nation moving well? Certainly cannot move well. Now, a nation whose education system has been stalled, most of the states in the north have shut down their education system. And it pains my heart. This is also the sector, the zone that is educationally less developed. Now you are now, through the organs of the state, putting an end to its existence. The next best option is, let us see how we can do some kind of realignment by what some people call political restructuring. And that will save us a little way.
It's a not very pleasant experience for Nigeria at 61. In spite of this, Nigerians are still hopeful that there's a chance things could go right for Nigeria if only the leaders would do the needful. I am Blessing Aichi.